Real quick, I wanted to give my thoughts as far as this whole Goldberg situation is concerned, because this past weekend we had Saturday night's main event in which he had his final retirement match with Gunther. This whole Saturday night's main event, I guess you could say event, was promoted as to being the final outing for Goldberg as a professional wrestler. This was his send-off, right off into the sunset for Goldberg. They gave him a main event match on NBC for the World Heavyweight Championship against Gunther. The one thing in which I am in agreement with Goldberg is the fact that, his retirement speech, 10 seconds into his retirement speech, and it was already cut off, right? Like, I'm not the biggest Goldberg fan, but the fact that they, did something like that just for anybody is kind of, ridiculous and kind of a little messed up, because it doesn't matter really if they're a good wrestler, if they're a bad wrestler, or whatever the case may be. But like, this is somebody's final retirement match. I feel like you should at least give them the opportunity to go out and, go off on the highest of high notes here. But Goldberg did mention on the Ariel Helwani podcast sort of some frustrations that he had as far as the match not having a significant amount of build, as far as him not being treated, with respect and certain things like this. And obviously he mentioned the goodbye speech, in which I am in agreement with him. I feel like really that should have been the last thing we saw of Goldberg, and instead we got him cut off 10 seconds into that whole thing. But as far as the whole build and as far as the whole, I guess, lack of respect thing goes, he did mention the fact that he said, like, hey, you wouldn't have done this to The Undertaker, you wouldn't have done this to John Cena, but you also got to take into account, who he's comparing himself to. Goldberg, as much as you may like him and as much as you may be a big fan of Goldberg, he is no Undertaker. He is no John Cena. The reason that those two guys would get heavy promotion as far as their retirements is concerned is because they are big names in that company. John Cena is a massive name in that company. And all due respect, John Cena and Goldberg are two different competitors, two different wrestlers. John Cena is one of the top names just in general in history for that company, and Goldberg just really isn't. So that's one. He mentioned that the build was only 3 weeks in length and he would have preferred something as soon as January. I think that's way too long, and plus at the time, like we mentioned, John Cena was already embarking on his retirement tour, so you can't really step on his toes as far as that is concerned. And 3 weeks, I will agree as well, it was kind of half-assed as far as, hey, here's the match, here's Goldberg, why does he get a title match, who knows, but here's the match. You know what I mean? Like I said before, I'm not the biggest Goldberg fan, but as far as the way it's sounding, it's kind of sounding like he's being a little ungrateful as far as the whole match is concerned, because WWE, when you really sit down and think about this, they really don't need Goldberg at this point in 2025. You know what I mean? When he originally came back in 2016, 2017, that's when I think he should have retired. After that Brock match at WrestleMania, that should have been it. That should have been the highest of high notes for him. He should have gone on and just retired then and there, but instead he kept coming back, and he kind of tainted his own legacy as far as that's concerned. He had those matches in Saudi Arabia with The Fiend, with The Undertaker. I mean, he should have really hung it up back in 2017, but he kept coming back, and he was complaining for the last 2 to 3 years as far as his retirement match. And now WWE, it's almost like they gave him this match in spite. They kind of just said, here, just take it and shut up. So I don't know, as far as Goldberg is concerned, he might still be looking for that match, and whether or not he gets it at this point, if he's going to get it, he's probably going to go to somebody like a Tony Khan over in AEW, so he can have his official retirement match the way he wants over there. And even then, I don't even know if he's going to get it the way he wants it. But post your comments down below as far as this whole Goldberg situation is concerned. Are you in agreement with Goldberg? Do you feel like he was kind of treated on the wrong? Do you feel like he was disrespected by the company, or do you really not care as far as his retirement match? But let me know what you guys think down below, and until next time, I will see all of you on the next one.